course, thank you. I'm looking forward to the game. Glad we get back on the field again this week after a bye week. Last week we took advantage of the time off and try to get some guys, um, you know, healthier, but also get work on our conditioning still and make sure that we're ready to roll this weekend when we play North Alabama. We're able to get some corrections that some of the mistakes that we saw and some things that we can do better as a team and in all our phases, all three phases. And try to get those corrections made. We feel like we're in a good spot right now and looking forward to a physical and tough practice this afternoon. So that being said, excited about the matchup with North Alabama, well-coached team, and they're coming here to Provo and looking forward to playing them and trying to get in a position where we can perform at our best. So any questions you guys have, I'll take.
All right, let's go with Jared Lloyd, then Mitch Harper, and then Jay Drew.
Kalani, I'm sure you've seen all the news as far as all the spikes going with COVID-19 and the impact it's had on college football. How are you guys doing in that regard? You've said, over the last month that you've been doing really well. Just wondered what the update was there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're still doing good. Looking at our situation compared to others, and I think right now, we're no different than a lot of other places, except for the numbers aren't as high. So I got to applaud our players being smart and trying to do everything they can. I'm not saying that no one else is smart. It's just that this thing is unpredictable. So they're doing as much as they can, and for guys that are trying to stay away and social distance, wear a mask, and all those things. There's still some that contract it, and we have to go with the right protocols and make sure that they are quarantined and that we do a good job of making sure that we eliminate the issues that come along with contact tracing, which I imagine, I don't know all the details, but I imagine that seems to be the biggest issue with a lot of the other teams. And so we can keep our numbers low, and if not, if guys are out, then they're out. We have to play with our depth, and that's just another part of the game for us this year, and that we're no different than everyone else. So I think there's not one team that can say they're going into each game 100% healthy because of COVID. So we'll just have to adjust and just thankful for the opportunity that we had to play the game. So that's got to be our primary focus, is gratitude.
You've talked a lot about, Kalani, that gratitude aspect. With this being, the Thanksgiving season, is it even a stronger, just the Thanksgiving holiday? Does that mean even more this year just because of all that gratitude that you focused on for the last few months?
Well, I think that part of it is just we had Thanksgiving, and it's like one of those moments where it allows you to kind of reflect on what you're thankful for. But that's kind of forced upon us early, and when probably since March. And so I think this season, this Thanksgiving is going to be a little different, where people that's been a little bit more on their minds, that we don't take things for granted as much as we did before. And so it's a good reminder for us, and possibly good to have that gratitude and something that you probably carry on from here on out, and try to stay humble enough to appreciate, the people and the wonderful things that you have around you. So that's I think it's going to be something that's going to help us, but it's not unique to us. It's what everybody gets to enjoy, and I hope we never forget.
Kalani, during the bye week, did your team continue the 3 tests per week in regards to COVID, and how optimistic are you that the game will be played this Saturday against North Alabama?
Yeah, we're still keeping up with our testing and still following the protocols that our sports medicine department leads us with. And in the meantime, we make the proper adjustments to what our state officials and government's telling us. And these guys saying our program and everyone here has done a good job of adapting to whatever happens. And so whatever they say, we've played games with fans, with no fans, with on the road and things like that. And it's an education issue for all of us. We're still learning as we go, and I feel like we've got a jump start on everything. Our players understand a little bit more now, especially since that Army week, where that game was postponed or canceled. And so we're still, so the fact that we were able to get those 7 games in a row, I applaud everyone on the campus and our administration and our sports medicine department and our people in the program taking the initiative and trying to be as safe as possible. And that needs to continue now. When we're having a situation where we're not playing a lot of games right now, we've had our first bye that's on our schedule, and now we have a game. So I think we handled the bye really well and had the guys go through the whole testing protocol and everything, and we'll just keep rolling as we go and make sure that we stay on top of everything and educate our guys even more on how to be safe and how to do things the right way.
And is there any concern from you to have this many bye weeks at the end of the season, only 2 games in the last 6 weeks? I mean, is that something that you don't mind, or how do you feel about that?
Well, this whole season's different, so my feelings are we're going to be ready to play every week. That's what I'm going to prep our team to be. So regardless if we have a game scheduled that weekend or not, we will be ready for a game every weekend.
Kalani, the Pac-12 has a policy that if you fall below 53 available scholarship players, you can't play. You have to have 7 offensive linemen, different numbers like that. Does your program have any of those threshold numbers established that you have to meet?
Yeah, we have something that's similar. I think for us, we've done a lot of cross training even with our O-line and D-line, so we have a little bit more wiggle room and a little bit more opportunities to see guys at different positions. And so luckily we've been able to do that. That's kind of been our MO here, is getting guys cross-trained and teaching them football. So we have guys that can play a lot of different positions, and it's just a matter of them getting enough experience there. And I think we should be okay if we if we ever need to get to we've had to work our depth, but if we ever need to get to something like that, then I'm sure guys like Kyrus would love to play guard or running back or something like that. But I don't know. We'll just keep doing it, teach our guys football, and hopefully during that week have our guys ready to play and contribute wherever they can.
So can you give me the specific number of scholarship players that you need to have available to play?
We need 11 to play on offense, 11 to play on defense, and 11 to play on special teams. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go here and give you all the things on guys who can play a lot of different positions, because we have that too. So if there's enough to put on the field, we'll play.
All right, let's take a question from Jason Shepard and Jacob Hatch.
Kalani, how do you or does how you gauge success or evaluate a game, how does that change based on the opponent in terms of facing a team from the FCS?
Doesn't change. I mean, that when you look at our ability to prepare and it, part of that whole preparation is respecting your opponents. So I see some of the things that Chris Willis is doing as a head coach, and I think he's done some. I mean, I know they're 0-3, but if you look at what they've done and then you watch the film like I have on all 3 phases, he prepares his guys the right way. He's had some really good mentors, and he's been at North Alabama for a long time. There's a lot of pride in him, them showing at their best, and they've done some really good things. I mean, they've been competitive. They held an explosive offense like Liberty to 7 points in the first half, and we're at 7-0 at halftime. And if you watch them, they haven't. I mean, that's the most points they've surrendered, and they lost 28-7. But then you look at the other games; they haven't given up more than 28 points a game. And I look at the schemes and the way that he teaches his guys, and they're really well coached and good schemes. They can be aggressive when they need to be, and they have to have all of our attention. That's no different than any other opponent that we face. Our approach is going into this thing like we have to be at our best. We're assuming, and the way I look at their coaches and the way I've seen them play, and the way they start even the Southern Mississippi game, the way that they play their games, they're going to bring a lot of energy, and they're going to be ready for this game. So we're anticipating getting their best shot. You've heard me say this over and over again. We need to make sure that they get ours as well. And so, with that being said, that's the whole preparation this week, is to make sure that we're in a position to be at our best, and that we respect our opponents and show them the respect the game enough to show them that we can come after them with the best that we got, everything that we got.
Yeah, one other thing, I know that you've faced a lot of teams this year that either BYU has never faced, or maybe those teams have never played in this part of the country. What has been the reception that you have got from these other teams that may be coming out here for the very first time, experiencing BYU for the first time? Have you been able to get any feedback in terms of how their experience has gone? And how much do you go into making sure that their experience here is a positive one, in terms of obviously away from the game and making sure that kind of stuff is good for them?
Well, I mean, I trust the people that are here. I don't really get into the whether they already eat certain restaurants and spots like that with them. I'm not doing travel and tourism and trying to find out how to make their stay more comfortable. I think most of those guys figure it out, and most of the teams that come here stay at the Marriott right downtown Provo, and they have good catering and all that stuff. For me, it's like we're going to show them our what we can do on the field and play with as much sportsmanship as we can. And it's never perfect, but we want to do that as a program and see what happens after that. And but I don't want to make it too comfortable for them. We're on the field, so that's what matters the most. And I think if we show up at our best, then we have a good chance in a lot of games. And I feel the same way this weekend.
Kalani, Merton Hanks, he's the Pac-12's Associate Commissioner for Football Ops. He made a statement over the weekend that they were going to look into potentially allowing Pac-12 teams to play non-conference games. I wanted to ask you not specifically about that and scheduling, but how soon do you feel like you would need to find out that you were playing an opponent to feel like you're adequately prepared to play?
Well, I guess that depends on whether we're on the road or at home. That factors into it. And the timing for us is just, we don't look past any opponent other than that week. And so for me, get it done as soon as you can, so that gives us time to, when we're done with our current game, we can move on to scouting them and getting that done. I watched the Cal UCLA game on Sunday, and that seemed like a quick turnaround, and I think it worked out for both teams to be able to get that game going. But for us, if you want to get our best look, I think you have to give us a week of preparation. But I think it's the right thing to do on both sides, so I don't know how you want to factor all that stuff between that, the travel, and everything that can go. I just, Tom's asked me to get our guys ready to play every week, and that's what I'm going to do. And so, if we get any news on anything, then we'll go from there. Merton Hanks, by the way, is a great 49er. Loved watching him play. It's my Niners.
Just another question I had for you is, I've seen Chandon Herring. He actually doesn't wear knee braces as an offensive lineman. I know a lot of programs require these guys to wear those braces to protect them from injury. Why does he not wear it? Is it a requirement, or is it kind of an optional thing with you?
Well, I think it's a requirement during practice, and then I kind of let them figure out what's more what they feel the most comfortable with. I believe in taking the right measures to keep our guys safe, and then we also want to be able to get some feedback from our training room and our equipment people and figure out what the best situation for them to play at. And so there's a little bit of wiggle room. I don't make all the quarterbacks wear a rib protector. I don't make all the linebackers wear forearm braces or anything like that. That's kind of, when you get into it, it's a personal preference, and I think it's important that we work with them. All I know is we have certain equipment that we use, and whether they're knee braces or other things like that, or mouthpieces or whatever they may be. I mean, some guys like the custom fit mouthpieces. Other guys like that binky looking thing that they like to wear. And I was a custom fit guy. I just like to, be able to breathe as much as I could. But I think it's a personal deal for those guys. But we have our certain brands that we believe in. And when it comes to equipment, we have those brands that we believe in. And then when it comes to our, who sponsors us, that's all Nike. So that's all that matters to us.
All right, let's take a question from Pat Kinahan.
Coach, you got an opportunity to do something that this program hasn't done since you've gone independent. I know you're not going to like this question, but how much should style points matter?
I like winning. I want to be at our best and then win the game, and then whatever happens and however everybody evaluates it, that they can see it however they want. I think the most important thing for us is to be at our best this weekend, and if that's stylish to everybody, great. But I'm not a guy all about style. I'm like you, PK. I don't have the dress and the wardrobe to match it. Everything I wear is pretty much free. So comes to that stuff, if the team's looking at my style, then it's probably really I don't know how you say it, just normal. But if you're looking at like the way some of these other guys dress, then they'd be flashy. But in terms of football, we want to be at our best, and whatever happens, whatever the scoreboard shows, I think if we're at our best, we can live with the results.
Thank you.
All right, let's take another question from Jared Lloyd.
Lonnie, you've talked about how the goal is continual improvement. I wanted to know, first of all, how you gauged that improvement from last week on the bye week, and then what you're going to look at as far as what you want to do for this week's game.
Yeah, well, from last week, I think so. What happens is a lot of times, because you know the end of the story, you know that when you win games, you sometimes overlook room for improvement. And when you, on the other side of things, when you lose games, you make a mountain out of a molehill. And so, all of a sudden when you lose a game, that one play becomes so important. It's like in basketball, that one free throw that you missed cost the team the game when you lost by one, right? So in football, to me, and in sports, I think that regardless of the win or the lose, or the loss, we have to find a way to improve. And I think sometimes you make something bigger than it should be when you lose, and sometimes when you win, you overlook some things because you feel good about the outcome. I like to just keep it as simple as possible and try to just get better all the time, regardless of what the result of the game is. And I think if you have that approach, you're going to find ways to improve as quickly as possible. There's a lot of things that we saw from the Boise game that we can improve on. And some of it's really frustrating for me as a coach, and some things just need to be addressed right away. But I think there's things that we can fix quickly from that turnaround to this game and throughout the week. There's things on there, the mistakes that we made, that I think that are very fixable with some practice and some focus from our players. And then I think I understand the mistakes do happen, but some of them shouldn't happen. Let's just put it that way. And looking forward to us. My goal is to try to get us to play a perfect game every week, and I hope we play one this weekend.
I think that's a great way to end. Thanks, Coach. That's
all right,
all we have
guys.
for today.
Stay safe. Thank you.